Hi, and welcome back with Sapiscale. This is the podcast, Grief and Everything in Between. This episode is called Questions and Signs. For the first part, I'm going to go over questions that have been asked from followers on my Instagram account. So let's dive deep into that. So the first question someone asked me was, what are some daily habits you incorporate to keep your grief at bay, keep busy on the daily? Great question. I don't feel like I necessarily have this down pat, the daily routine yet, but the one thing I do is journal. I journal when I'm feeling honestly like I'm going mad. Sometimes I get so in my head, I want to like punch a wall or something. Like I should probably go to a rage room. Um, but I write it out, and I think that's why I decided to start this podcast to let the words on the paper be heard. Hopefully heard by people who need it most, and they just feel a little less alone, even if it's just for a minute. A moment of not feeling alone is really important during grief. Next question. What is Charlie's favorite episode of The Office versus your favorite episode of The Office? That is a stellar question. Thank you to whoever asked that one. Charlie's favorite episode, hands down, I would have to say was Fun Run. We usually would start it from that episode because, Jim and Pam are finally together, and Michael is hysterical in that episode. If you haven't watched it, I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but Michael takes on a run, and he thinks he can carbo load with fettuccine alfredo right before the run. That's all I'll say. My favorite episode, hands down, is when Jim and Pam get married, obviously. Mar and I actually fell asleep to that episode on our wedding night. So that's a really special memory for me. We were big TV show buffs, really liked The Office, New Girl, Game of Thrones, Parks and Rec, The Good Place. We would rewatch those a lot because those are like our comfort shows, which has been hard for me. I can't go and watch those because I want to watch them with Charlie. So I'm trying to find new comfort shows, new episodes of different seasons I could watch. We just recently got into Ted Lasso. It's quite funny. Highly recommend if you need a good laugh. Some of the episodes do get a little deep though, mind you. Um, so yeah. All right, next question. What has been the hardest thing someone has said to you during your grief? The hardest thing is that time will make it better. It will not make it better for me. It's actually made it 10 times worse. I've mentioned it before, but Charlie and I, we were tight. We started living together the week we started officially dating. We were with each other all the time. We were best friends. So no, it's not getting by any means easier because time has gone by. It's getting a lot harder. It's like a hug you're longing for. Yeah. Yeah, that's been the hardest thing. Time does not make it better. And this whole year has been a blur. People keep telling me year two gets even harder. So that's something that's been heavy on my mind because I'm already really struggling. Almost 7 months in now, which feels like I could vomit even saying that. But next question. What's the meanest thing someone has said to you during your grief? The meanest would have to be after my husband's golf tournament that week. Someone told me that things are not real, that they're not real, and that it's the devil trying to seep in. Yeah, I've sat with that one for 2 months now, talked about it a lot in therapy. I'm here to tell you signs are real. They are real. Um, Keep your eyes open, keep your mind open, your heart open. Talk out loud to your person, and I talk out loud to Charlie all the time, not just in frustration. Literally, when I get up in the morning, I'm like, good morning, honey. And I just, like, I'm talking to him about my day and how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking. Signs are real for me. I grew up Catholic. I 100% believe signs are real. Signs are so, 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 so real. And based off of that question, I will get into the other half of our episode. I'll save some other questions maybe for the end, but to get into like the signs portion of how real signs are. First and foremost, on my wedding anniversary with Charlie, our first year wedding anniversary, May 24th, for 2 weeks prior to that, every day I would wake up and I would ask him, please, 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 please send me a blue heart and a double rainbow a day of so I know it's you. Like, I shit you not. Charlie sent me a blue heart. It was blue sky and then clouds around it while I was at his gravesite. And a double rainbow, which I know my great grandma Soup helped him out with. Because it was a double rainbow. And then, if you have been following me on my Instagram, my grandfather, John, he recently was going through chemo, radiation, but getting chemo and radiation and then going home because he was not healthy enough, but able to go home after receiving those outpatient. And there was a night of my grief that was like super heavy. Like, I just remember like sobbing myself unconsolably to sleep, and I put my hand out. It was at 1:30 in the morning. 1:30 in the morning. I put my hand out on Charlie's pillow, on his childhood blanket, and I just said, please, please hold my hand tonight. Send me a sign, honey, please. And then I passed out. I had my hand out, hoping he would hold it. And then that next morning, I wake up to a text from my grandmother, and she's like, boy, you have to come over and hear this story about your grandfather last night. And I'm like, okay. And she sends the lion emoji. So I'm like, okay, like maybe it's about Charlie. Backstory. My grandfather, big storyteller here, would never lie, has never once told me about his dreams before. He had no idea that Charlie had a lion tattoo, had an obsession with lions, that was his birth movie. His mom actually did go into labor while watching The Lion in movie theaters. Yes, he is a 94 baby. So I go over there, and my grandfather's telling me he's asleep. It's 1:30. I'm not kidding. You know, he's in and out. He's doing his mouth swishes and the medicines, and my grandma's in her bedroom. And he says around 1:30, he looks up and he sees me, or he believes he sees me, but he's awake. He's not dreaming. He's awake, and he sees me in a lion costume. In a lion costume. And he's talking to me, and he's confused, and he's like, Savannah, what are you doing here? How'd you get in here? And I know what people are thinking, like, oh, your grandfather's old. No, my grandfather, God bless him, he is with it. He's still driving, working out, going to the gym, getting Dunkin' with the boys in the morning. My grandfather's very active, very with it. He's like, what are you doing here? How'd you get in the house? Literally, I'm in a full... He goes to check the doors. He literally thinks he's seeing me, like in life, like real person. He's checking the doors. He's like, well, how did you get in here? He doesn't want to wake up my grandmother because he's confused. He goes to check the front door. And then by the time he turns around, I'm gone. So he's telling me this story, and I recorded it for my keepsake. It's on my Instagram if you want to go listen to him telling it. I was shook to my core because at that exact time, I was asking Charlie for a sign and holding out my hand. And it's crazy to me because my grandfather, like I said, had no idea Charlie had an obsession with lions, had no idea that I bought him a lion tattoo for his birthday many years ago because Charlie was like very respectful, very notorious for wearing like long sleeves to my grandparents' house, always like dressed very properly. That's my Charlie. So my grandfather had never even seen the tattoo. So like a lion, it's just crazy to me. I don't even think I fully have like absorbed it, but it's just so special to me because in that same week, I went out in public, like for the first time, to take him for granted, in Brantford, where my mother-in-law and sister-in-law work, and they've never had like the reading cards ever, but they had, you know, cards at the front desk, and I'm talking to Ellie, and I look down and I'm like, oh my God, a lion. And she goes, Fab, I've just went through that deck and I did not see a lion. You need to take that. So I was like, obviously taken back. And the lion, gorgeous, looked just like his tattoo, said strength on the front, and then in the back had crescent moons and the sun. Crescent moon is super, super important because Charlie was born on a crescent moon and passed away on a crescent moon. And that's like very unusual for that to happen with people. And he's, sent signs of the crescent moon to his sisters and his mom. And like sunset was major, big, big thing with him and his mom. So again, another sign. Still mind blown. I have the lion card on my dresser. The second month, like going into the second month of my grief, you're still in shock then. Well, I was, and all you want to do is to like hold on to something to like comfort you. And I just kept thinking like how I just had wished I had like a stuffed animal that represented Charlie. And, I was at my weakest emotionally, physically, and another sign. I had been looking up lions the day before. My sister comes through the house and she goes, this wasn't supposed to come for another 2 weeks, but it came in today. And it's a lion stuffed animal and it looks just like Charlie's tattoo. And I have slept with it every single night. And it goes to show you like signs do come. They are real. They're there. And I have to remind myself that when it gets a little too heavy. And it sure does get quite heavy. I'll say one of the heaviest signs. And I'll only share this one thing from it because I want to keep the integrity in the session private that I had with his sister-in-laws and his mom and my sister back in May. We spoke with a medium, and I hope to do it again down the road, probably just by myself, so I could really talk with Char. But the one thing I will share from that session, and I know it was Charlie because there's no way this woman could have known this. The only people who were there at the time who like came up to me was his sister Emily. So that morning I went back to our old bedroom and I just was feeling like, outside my body. Like I can't even describe to you. And I got a call from my aunt and we were talking and I just felt like I needed to go outside. Like I needed to like touch the grass, and I went far enough in the backyard where Charlie had built a fire pit during COVID. He built this like big fire pit that we use a lot. I had actually recorded our wedding intro for him. That was a surprise before I walked down the aisle, which is also on my Instagram. Like he had no idea that I had pre-recorded that for him before I walked down the aisle. And I just remember falling to the ground and telling my aunt I'm going to scream. And I put the phone down on the grass and I was like on my knees and I'm talking so slow and like so like it's like my chest. I could just like I can't even describe to you this scream. I'm sure 3 blocks down could hear it. I shit you not. 3 blocks down probably could. It was so loud that the medium told me he's showing me someone on the ground thrashing, screaming that morning, screaming so loud that he heard you. He heard you. He heard you. The stars, the sky, they heard you. Getting a little emotional. That scream I could feel down my core. And I'm pretty sure I screamed so loud that day that I could feel my heart um crack from a broken heart. I can remember feeling that rage, but he told medium that I needed to do that scream. I needed to get it out. He heard me. He felt it. He felt that scream. I remember this oldest sister, Emily, coming outside and so gently, but also cautiously picking me up because she was so sad, not just for obviously her and the family, but for me. And still, being that oldest daughter, coming out and picking me up and bringing me inside. And that, excuse me, sorry, I'm crying, sticks with me a lot. I'm sure it sticks with her a lot. I'm sure it sticks with everyone in the house that heard it. The fact that Charlie heard it and made sure he told the medium that he heard it speaks volume. Uh, I do believe that Charlie and my souls are connected and they will forever be connected and we will be together again. And that scream, sometimes I feel it like in my inner throat or my chest, and I just wanna do it again. But I swear to you, it was so loud and so painful. If the neighbors heard me, they probably would call 911. But I felt it in my chest and I felt the moment my heart cracked, and I swear to you, it definitely did. It probably did. I mean, broken heart syndrome is a real thing. I don't think that's talked about enough. But yeah, she was thrashing on the ground, screaming for you, and he heard it. And he's with me. And I wrote it down in my journal and I wrote down other things she said. I think if you're thinking about doing it, like meeting with a medium, don't be scared to do your research because the woman we went to is highly recommended. I'm reading the science book slowly. I try to listen to it like on podcast form on Spotify, which helps. But the stories that are told in that book is amazing. So I can wholeheartedly say a lot does not make sense. I don't know a lot, but I do know signs are real from my loved ones, and it takes time to see them and to accept them because there are days where I can't accept that this is my reality, but then I get frustrated that I'm not seeing signs. And I think those are like co and co, like those go in hand. Like it's hard to say that it's going to be, one or the other. I do believe that Charlie has sent me signs when I have needed them the literal most. And again, the fact that he heard me that morning, I can remember how cold the ground felt and the feeling of the grass on my hands, my body, and I just like thrashed onto the ground. Like there was no like I replay it a lot over and over in my mind, usually in my darkest moments of my grief, but it's back there. And I remind myself that he brought it up and he heard it and he knows the pain, he saw it. And that he's with me and that I'm gonna have a hard time because our souls are connected and he's my best friend, and he always will be my best friend. He's always going to be my husband. I'm always, always, always going to love him. If you haven't figured out in my podcast or through my Instagram yet, Charlie and I always said always to each other with a blue heart. And yeah, he is my always, true definition of always. And that was really heavy. So I think that's where I'm going to end this episode. And I hope you come back for episode 5. Thank you.